What up, guys? Another Adonis review. Today I thought I would cover The Witcher 3 in 2024 and if it's still worth playing this year, with the fact that the next gen update also came out a year ago. So, what's the quality of this 2015 game now? It's a legendary game on most lists of best games to play ever in all eternity. This one's usually, if not close to number one in the top 10, no matter what. So, can you get into it now, 9 years later from the initial release, 1 year later from the update? Let's kind of get into it. Now, first, I'll go into general thoughts depending on, let's say you've never played this game ever and it's completely fresh to you. When I first played The Witcher 3 was in 2018, and I remember thinking to myself, man, will this game still look good? It's 3 years old now. Can I still enjoy it since it's so much older and the graphics are going to be so poor? And I think initially this came up in my mind because I remember in 2015 when the game first came out, seeing it and hearing about the graphics looking great, and then seeing the character models. And at the time, I remember playing, I think, Far Cry 4 and being pretty underwhelmed, of someone saying that this game looks amazing when, Far Cry 4 at the time I felt looked more amazing, and it wasn't in third person, so it's harder to get that clarity, when you're so much closer to the screen. And so I wasn't impressed. But seeing the game enough times finally pushed me to find out and try it out. And especially at the time as well, I wasn't a person who was into RPGs in the sense that for some reason in my mind I thought RPGs were more of a World of Warcraft type of thing rather than a just a much longer, better story kind of sort of game. But, surprise, surprise, the game is fantastic. If you're someone who had no idea, they never tried RPGs, it's, like a standard third-person sword fighting game. I feel a lot of people could be, if they haven't tried the genre, undersold on the fact of, how much fun can you have, with a pair of swords and kind of doing the same thing without different weapons and techniques and, really great ways to change it. But the sword fighting is, does not get old ever. You get nice ways to upgrade them and, cooler swords and power-ups. Nothing too crazy, but the game still never gets old. So that's definitely nice. The most impressive thing I think about this game, which is the thing that makes everyone enjoy it, is the story. And the best way I can explain of why this story is so successful and why this game is number one is because side missions in this game have a better story and more time and care and character development in them than, the main story of some whole games, which is why this game is so acclaimed. It is fantastic. There's so many different missions and people, and the development, the way they were played is fantastic. Like I said, you're definitely going to get enthralled in the story no matter what. Graphically, which again is the biggest problem, I would say even if there was no next gen update, the 2015 graphics, obviously character models and whatnot, they didn't have up that much back then, but the way the world actually looks is actually something you can handle, even from the fact that it's a 2015 game, which I know is surprising to hear, but it's true. With the next gen update providing better character models and, kind of smoothing the edges in so many ways, it's a lot more palatable for most people if they are instantly turned off by a game that doesn't look good. So it does look like a good game. You have to understand that the character models in the beginning weren't the best, in the world, but the world in general, the way it's crafted, the landscape, the colors, the foliage, it's all done perfectly. It's a beautiful game. It's, something that you'll, when you play it and put your 100 hours into it, because the game is, I'd say if you are a completionist, about 100 to 120 hours with all the DLC combined. It's one of those games that you're going to change the clock and as many times as you can, and put it to daytime just so you can see the beautiful landscape as you can see now. With that being said, a few things to consider about this game. Like I said, you definitely get your bang for your buck with it. It's typically probably 80 hours standard game, and then with the DLC you get that extra 30, 20 hours, which is why there's 2 DLCs that come with the game standardly. It's like Blooded Wine being the most acclaimed of it, and the reason it's so acclaimed is because that DLC by itself is 20 hours around, which again is like a game of itself. You're essentially getting a game with the game, and luckily it just adds on to the game that you already have and gives you more options, a whole new world to explore and visit, away from the standard map that you lived in the previous area, which also comes with a nice Norway-ish type of vibe and Swedish vibe, and then gives you like the whole Viking area as well. So they kind of divide it into like a France, Europe, and then Norway, Viking area, and then with the DLC you get like a, I don't know, maybe Paris. They're all kind of combined, but you get what I'm saying. So let's kind of recap everything that you should expect with the next gen update. The graphics have been pushed up to modern days where the character models are acceptable. The map already was beautiful no matter how you kind of cut it. You'll have no problem. The story is still one of the top stories that you'll find in gaming. And for the price that you typically get, normally you can get this game for $20, $30, or even as low as maybe $50 if you can get it on sale with all the DLC. And the next gen update is free, but so essentially it comes no matter what. Nowadays, if you bought it today, if you already have the game, it should be a free update, I believe. So where am I going with this? Is it still worth playing nowadays? It is. Is it still worth paying $20 for this game nowadays after it being out for so many years? It is. This game is worth $20, hands down. For a fact, I do not believe you'd be disappointed. It's worth playing. I can't imagine it losing its luster. It just holds. I think if you give it a try, you'll find out why it is acclaimed even to this day. So hope this helps out anybody who's been considering jumping into it and wonders if this 9-year-old game is still worth playing and why it is worth playing. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. All right, later guys.